there's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
Baltic Sea Adventure. Previously on Baltic Sea Adventure. Tanja and Kimo visit WWII, a Type 7C U-boat and a war memorial. Kiel Channel shows us its most beautiful sights. We visit Peenemünde in the former East Germany, a rocket museum, Russian submarine Juliet U-461, and hear the story of Werner von Braun.
What's interesting with Schloss Schröder is that the ship's bell is still there.
Swedish divers dive more Baltic Sea wrecks. We take a car ferry from Rostock, a quick way to get to Estonia. The big green Estonian islands Saaremaa and Hiiumaa take us back in time. We talk about the recent Estonia car ferry disaster. Our diving boat Pelagonia arrives in Hiiumaa, and we get ready to explore the local waters in the Baltic Sea. Our Baltic Sea adventure continues in Estonia. Our boat Pelagonia is moored at the Lethma harbour, at the northern tip of Hiiumaa.
There's a U-boat, U-479.
A German U-boat.
German U-boat, and it was outside Utö in Finland.
Okay.
And it was on the waters. It was some kind of mission, whatever. And Lempit came and knocked it, and it sank.
Russian-Estonian diver and wreck hunter Andrei Osipchuk has joined our diving crew for a few days. If you want to know about the local wrecks, he is the man to talk to. He has his own side-scan sonar and spends all his time diving the local waters. Since Tanja and Kimo don't speak any Russian, Martin does his best to translate. Finnish, Estonian and Russian. All different languages, but we'll manage somehow. The eastern Baltic waters around these Estonian islands are especially interesting.
There's plenty.
Oh, then that's good. He's our guy then.
The man.
He's the man.
Until 1992, they were patrolled by Russian naval forces and were a no-diving zone. Now, everything's changed. Estonia is independent, and the eastern Baltic Sea is open for all.
It's kind of a military organization.
Andrei tells us about the local wrecks. There's lots of them in shallow waters.
No, very similar.
No. Is this one of the that we would try to do?
Yes.
The first dive is to the wreck of Vest, a survey ship sunken in 1941 during the Second World War.
Morgen.
Okay. Хорошо.
Tomorrow we put it.
So can his side sonar be moved into this boat, or?
It's not far away, and the
okay,
depth
it's
of
not
16 meters
It is
makes it
possible.
perfect for sports diving.
It's no problem.
Andre has a side-scan sonar image of the wreck.
Yes.
We are getting ready for the first dive. The owners of the boat Pelagonia left an instruction video about how to operate this old ship, and the whole crew gathers to watch it.
She has moved the stomach away from the...
It's a peculiar operating system, but the video is even funnier.
Next time the girls should...
It would be better, it would be better. That's a charger for the one battery when you are... Every day those should be kicked a little bit. I think they're greasing the axle or something.
We get the boat started. The mood is good on board. It's just great to be doing something worthwhile after the talk and organising. The weather is gorgeous, calm and sunny. A perfect day for a quick trial dive and a boat ride.
Koitapas keskittyä laivadoon.
The divers on board today are Martin, Andres, nicknamed Lenin, and Andres. Andre seems especially happy. We don't know what the story is, but it looks a good one. Andre brought his own side-scan sonar with him. This invention has revolutionized the wreck hunting. Finnish diver and research engineer Jussi Kastanen, who built his very own side-scan sonar and has used it successfully to find wrecks, tells us the fundamentals.
I was asking from my fellow divers, one or two of them, that, hey, should we build a side-scan sonar just as a hint and see what they think? And one of these fellows said that no, that cannot be done, it's too difficult. I was just thinking to myself that, god damn it, this is a challenge now, that I'm gonna prove you guys are wrong. So we have a side-scan sonar system here on the table, and this consists of 3 parts. We have an underwater unit which is called towfish, and then we have a display device. In our case it's normally ordinary laptop, and then we have a cable which connects these 2 devices together. And side-scan sonar name comes from the fact that whereas normal depth finder, for example, is measuring only distance to the sea bottom underneath the sensor, in this towfish we have 2 sonar transducers, one on each side, and here we have one transducer which is pointing to the left side of the tow track. And how this device functions is that we're generating a really narrow fan-shaped beam of acoustic energy, short pulse, so-called ping. And the measurement is done one narrow track of sea bottom at a time. And each ping measures this one track, and at the same time boat is moving, and after a while we do another measurement and then measure another track. And once we stack all these measurement results on top of each other, eventually a recognizable picture is forming. So here we have the principle of acoustic shadowing demonstrated. My light is now pretending to be the acoustic sound source, sonar transducer, and here we have a target which is supposed to be in the sea bottom, and here in the back, just as with the normal light, there is a shadowing behind the object where the light doesn't penetrate. The same principle applies to acoustic shadows, and here this particular shadow is the one that is really important in the sonar record interpretation. And from that shadow shape and that kind of things, you can pretty much see and tell what kind of object or what kind of target you have in the bottom. This software is 100% made by the same engineer who designed and made this whole tollfish. So same factory is responsible for that one also. So now I start playback mode. We're reading the same data back that we just recorded out there at the sea. And here in the picture we see these two channels. One is the right side channel, which is measurement data from the right side of the tollfish, and then we have a left side channel, which is data collected from the left side of the tollfish. And the center of the towpath, or where the boat actually went, is here in the middle.
First, the diving team throw in a marker buoy for the dive site. The divers Martin, Lenin and Andrus are happy to take the plunge. They do ordinary sports diving, much more straightforward than the technical trimix diving our Swedish diving team does. The waters around Hiiumaa are generally shallow, rarely deeper than 20 meters, and ideal for sports divers.
We are just watching you rolling there.
You'll have to watch the boat crew while the divers are diving. Unfortunately, there is no chance of getting any underwater footage today. We are still waiting for the underwater camera cases from the USA Diving Gear Company.
Hi, this is Kimo calling again.
They should have arrived already. Every time we talk to them, it gets more awkward.
Tracking information. What's the courier?
The company can't even give us a tracking number.
FedEx. Oh, okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
So, meanwhile, we see what the Swedish technical diving team Tor, Per and Lotta get down to on the west side of the Baltic Sea. Via webcam, they tell us about a small cargo shipwreck they found, Swedish Humber.
This is
Humber.
Humber. This is a really small Swedish wreck. It's like 35, maybe 40 meters long. And they were in the middle of the winter and the ice was like packing up, so they got actually stuck in the ice. Yeah. And they had no radio on board the ship. And we found this wreck 2004, I guess. So me and Lotta, we were actually the first divers.
It was very exciting.
It was like the visibility was 25 meters.
Really good.
And to be like the first person on the wreck, you have no idea where it is. This is adventure. It's really cool. But we search for any, name. Is there a name anywhere? So we found a ship's bell with a name and a date, a year on it.
We found the name in the
stern
where it said Humber, and the lifeboats were no longer on the ship, so it's quite obvious that
trying to rescue
themselves. Tried to rescue themselves, but because of the hard weather, the storm weather, and it was winter and cold and the pack ice, they didn't survive.
We found the captain's cabin, which is still intact. You can see the bunk, you can see those mattresses with horse hair sticking out. You can see lots of personal stuff inside there. Yeah. So I like this wreck a lot. This is an easy dive. It's maybe 45 meters deep. That's the coolest part with diving wrecks, is untouched wrecks. Is that it's kind of a cliche, but it's a frozen moment.
It is.
Everything is in the same place that it was when it sank. So the time is still. Even if if you find a clock, it probably has stopped at the time when it actually sank. So it's hard to actually that feeling of being on a wreck. I think in some of the shots maybe we have got some bits of it, but not fully. You have to probably experience yourself to actually be there and to be weightless and just watch things and start to imagine, you know, how did it.
And the only thing you hear is your own breathing, and so many interesting and beautiful wrecks out there.
It is.
Back to Pelagonia and Estonian waters. Martin, Lenin and Andrus had a good dive to the wreck of survey ship Vest. Because the coastal regions are so shallow here, the water gets exceptionally warm by August. Something you wouldn't expect from the northern waters.
The water is very warm, about 18 degrees. Okay.
When we start heading back to Hiiumaa, the boat engine starts to overheat. We'll have to wait for it to cool down.
Okay. No underwater cameras. Without. And transferring machine in USA.
So again, Kimo has a chat with the camera case company, with very little luck.
I've called every day. Every day I've been promised that I'll get an email where we have the tracking information, and I need to kind of call the Tallinn so that they can start to track them where they are.
These phone calls are starting to cost more than the boxes do.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye.
This time, they are lunching.
They'll call back. It's lunchtime. There's not a lot of people there, and this guy didn't know anything.
So they just can't get it done.
Andrus entertains us with stories of naval mines.
Bombs, they are working.
There were plenty of those around after the Second World War. Although the minefields have been cleared, and we haven't heard of any recent accidents, divers still encounter them occasionally.
It's not exploding, it's exploding in the depth when the pressure is coming. But that is only 20 meters.
Mingi vahevalik oli muud, mul see nii lähedalt võtab pilku.
We got the ship closer, about 100 meters to the main house.
We head back to the Lethma harbour. It's both a guest and work harbour. Local natural resource, timber, is often being loaded on cargo ships. They're on their way to the Finnish sawmills. All these young divers work in the forestry industry. It's a big business here. Our Finnish enforcement, diver Tuomas Astron, is waiting for us at the harbour. The wife of Andrus, Nelly, welcomes her husband at the pier. This is how it should be. Captain checks that the boat is securely moored. We have a meal at the beach bar by the Lethma harbour. A perfect warm evening, good food, great atmosphere.
Do you know how to sink a Swedish submarine?
No.
Send a diver to knock the door.
The jokes of the neighbouring countries and their peoples are forever popular. Tuomas has been doing sports diving for a long time. He also used to work in the diving shop in Helsinki and is well known amongst the Finnish divers.
And everything.
My stomach is exploding right now.
They used to have that.
With the help of laughter and general banter, we all get to know each other a bit better. while getting eaten alive by mosquitoes.
We are being eaten alive now, aren't we? Jälkiruoka.
Maybe dessert.
This bar is popular amongst surfers and divers.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
We make plans for the next few days.
Tomorrow we're planning visit Andrei's boat and visit the museum.
Yeah. And again, tomorrow we'll discuss what the program for the next day is, because then we'll know.
Hopefully we know tomorrow morning about the camera housing.
Two major problems: the boxes and the weather.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
See you tomorrow.
And thank you.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Yep. Tomorrow. Bye bye. And thank you, Tanja.
The next day, the weather deteriorates. To turn our luck, we visit Ristimäki, Cross Hill in English. There's been a Swedish presence and minority population in Estonia for more than 700 years. Many times they have fled the occupying forces. When the 1,000 Swedes living in Hiiumaa packed their boats with their belongings in 1781, they came here to make a cross, with the wish that they could one day return to this beautiful island they considered their home. Even here we managed to do business.
49200.
We cannot wait for the vanished underwater camera boxes any longer, and have been able to locate one in Finland. Now we are organising to get it delivered here.
It left at 7, so it should be there in
9 minutes.
5 minutes.
In about 5 minutes. Yeah, exactly. What a stressful day. We are on the river.
It needs to be airshipped to Estonia, and Kurt will pick it up from the airport. As a newcomer or visitor to the island, we are supposed to make a cross here, from anything you can find in the nature around you.
Yes, let's. Yeah, exactly. You're the main thing. You are needed. Okay. See you.
Every surface of the forest is covered in crosses of all sorts. It's very Blair Witch Project kind of place. Although our underwater filming just hasn't happened yet, the Swedish diving team is doing well on the western Baltic Sea. The Swedish dive Nelly, a beautiful steam cargo ship.
So this is beautiful summer surface shots from Öland and the dive boat Otto, where you can see the beautiful me.
This is Nelly.
This is beautiful.
It's a beautiful wreck outside.
It's also a steam cargo ship, which is very intact. We have been down to Öland 3 summers. This project that Ocean Discovery, one dive group we are actually in, searching for the wrecks of Svärdet and Mars.
Yeah.
That was 2 Swedish royal ships in the 15th or 16th century.
Yeah.
And during the search for those wrecks, which we haven't found yet, but we probably will, we find quite a lot of other wrecks. The wrecks we talked about, Charlotte Schroeder, was one of the more recent wrecks we found. We found maybe 25 wrecks. Not just the 2 of us, of course, but the group.
Yeah.
Some shots from the steering house with the steering wheel, with a small steering wheel inside. You have the compass intact.
It's so beautiful.
our rainy day continues. We meet the Estonian diving team in Suursadem, one of the oldest harbours in Hiiumaa. It's now a shipyard, fishing and guest harbour. The new face in the crowd is Janis, another local diver. We seem to multiply as we go on. By now almost everyone from the local diving club, WWII Divers, is present. There's a small maritime museum here. Some of the small treasures that Andre has picked up from the wrecks at the bottom of the sea are on display. This place is different from the norm, since there are no do not touch signs anywhere. The old diving gear doesn't seem too comfortable.
Swimming. How does it feel? Do you know?
Boring.
This is O-ring. This is Fuck off.
Sulev Vakta, the chairman of the shipyard, is keen to tell us about the displays.
See on Sydvester. Jaa, aga mina siis ütlen, et see on see Neptuni hark. Need jalga siis ei kuku ümber. Nüüd teate, mis on? Jaa, teame. Kui meremehed lähevad kõrtsu, siis on üksteisele kohe antakse.
This is the kind of museum we like, with a real interactive feel to it. There's no need for high-tech multimedia display units.
See on jälle, näete siin, siin on jätte Brežnevi allkiri, Georg Artsev, soomlased käivad seda Brežnevi. See on nagu ka Artsev peal. Anu võib-olla.
Mis te võlite?
Poolakad olid juhid ju, noh. Ja üks asi oli selline, et maega ja see rootsis poolest.
The museum collection continues in a 300-year-old warehouse. Again, all kinds of weird stuff from the history of the sea.
Old diving pump. Neid on siin ühega ja all right. Siin on näiteks
There's an old rubber diving suit and a surface air pump. This system was used before the portable tanks and regulators were made practical and popular by legendary Jacques Cousteau and his team. And there's also a collection of old boat motors. Sulev tells us all.
When the men were men. Hello.
How are you?
It was very hard to wipe your nose.
Told it.
Nice place.
It's time to eat. And the workers' restaurant of the shipyard is open for visitors.
It's funny to think about that this would be. Like 100 years ago, we would be sitting at the sea.
Andrus tells us the story of an incredibly successful and notorious Hiiumaa pirate, von Ungern Sternberg.
Unger Sternberg pirates started to make these bonfires in the wrong place.
At the end of the 18th century, Baron Ludwig von Ungern Sternberg was the most feared pirate of the Baltic Sea. With false fires, he lured the passing ships to the cliff edge of the Hiiumaa island. With the help of his men, he killed the crew and collected the cargo. He was smart enough to involve many of the locals and share some of the loot with a large group of people, so nobody was willing to give him up. Tanja and Kimo went to see von Ungern's house, Suurimoissa. It's a grand building indeed, huge in scale and style. Although we were here early in the afternoon, the place was locked. The house is used as a primary and technical school, and a former student, Agatha, comes to our rescue and finds a teacher to let us in.
Yes. That's the picture that is in the...
There he is, Baron Ludwig von Ungern-Sternberg, a baron, a pirate, and a very wealthy man. There are rumours of a hollow ceiling space where he hid his treasures, and stories of underground tunnels that generations have searched in vain. In 1803, Baron von Ungern-Sternberg was finally sent to Siberia as a punishment after a murder of Captain K. Malm, which took place in the same house. He was never actually punished for his piracy. There was an unfortunate change in maritime law a long time ago. When a boat sank, and if there were survivors, the rescues would only get the salvage fee for their troubles. But if everyone on board died, the rescuers would get the whole cargo. Therefore, it was financially more beneficial to kill the whole crew. So piracy bloomed in the Baltic Sea. There are two kinds of pirates: those who attack boats at sea, and those who allure the ships to the coast with false guiding lights. The latter being more popular method used everywhere in the world on coastal regions.
Place is closed, and I have no idea where to look. Okay.
Well, thank you for trying to help.
Yeah.
The locals are incredibly nice and helpful. We thank Agatha for her help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
The family of Ungern-Sternbergs continued to play an important part in the local history for a long time, and culture and education flourished in this house. This great house has beautiful gardens. Even insects here seem larger than anywhere else.
Good business to be a pirate.
The local divers know the spot where the pirate von Ungern sank the ships. They want to explore that area in the near future. Back at Surissedam, they show us the boat they have recently bought. They'll customise it to be suitable for diving trips, and maybe even take tourists with them to explore the local wrecks. Andre's boat is usually moored here, by the big fishing boats. Andre takes off on his own boat. We didn't know at the time that this was the last we would see of Andre. During the whole time, there was a communications problem with him. We didn't share the language, and our documentary filming methods seemed to be entirely alien to him. Too bad. He didn't realise that we were filming him all the time.
He's a very mad diver, always alone.
Yeah.
Tonight it's time to move our base camp, and surprise, surprise, it's all finished. Only a few days ago, it didn't even have any windows or doors. The builders must have worked hard. This holiday home is a traditional Hiiumaa farmhouse, now completely renovated for our comfort. A new diver, Lina Ranaste, joins our motley crew. She's Kurt's diver friend from Tallinn.
Tonight Thomas cooks. Haluatko kukaan jotain välineitä? Kiitos.
The evening looked promising, but in the morning the storm clouds gather again. There's no point going out to do diving. Again, it's time to invent other things to do. Close to Lethma harbour, there are old Soviet Russian bunkers. The road there is just a narrow forest lane, a good excuse to try out the Land Rover four-wheel drive. boys and their toys.
Martin!
Martin!
Where are you? Yes. Get lost here.
Bunkers litter the Baltic Sea coastline, dating back to all the various wars. These are left behind from the Second World War. Often they are closed, deliberately filled with sand or water. Some water-filled bunkers are popular amongst cave divers, but these bunkers are still accessible for everyone. Just wear sturdy shoes and take a flashlight with you.
Floor is burned.
He's going to jump us. Yeah, now it's in your hair. Just remain calm.
We are here for just another Blair Witch Project moment. Spooky place.
This is like Resident Evil.
It's easy to come up with movie references.
Don't get hooked. Straight into the camera. Bridget Jones' Diary. Great. Mahtava kameraaja. Little diving boys. Joku söi Tuomas.
Se oli ihana.
The divers also visit a Russian watchtower, another great movie location. Maybe we'll come back later for a sequel.
It's getting better and better.
The same day, diver Kurt Medre finally joins us from Tallinn. He brings the Finnish underwater camera box with him from the Tallinn airport. Kurt's also brought new diving masks from Tallinn for all his friends. They want to try them out in the local swimming pool. This gives Tuomas an opportunity to test the camera casing. Sports divers often try out any new equipment in a swimming pool. It's safer than just jumping straight into the sea with untested gear. The next day things start to move on. We get a call from our executive producer. He has sent us his brand new rib to be used as a secondary diving boat. It seems that we are in business at last.
Merelased muutuvad.
Ehk siis no otsad on nagu kõik teada.
Totally dry.
This is going smoothly.
Yes. Yeah. This is it.
The divers Tuomas, Martin and Roman go for a quick test dive to try out the camera case. The casing is big and old, meant for a film camera. But this is the best we can get for now. Typical Baltic Sea conditions. Cross waves and murky water. But murky doesn't mean dirty. There's just a lot of silt and sediment in the Baltic Sea. And in certain weather conditions, the visibility can be very bad. Once the box is in the water, it seems to do the thing it's meant to do. Keep the water outside the casing.
And then I just jump up.
Kiitos. On hyvä. Tanu.
Diver Tuomas gets a nickname from the Estonians, Eagle Eyes. You can see why.
Normal.
Very crazy weather. Very crazy.
But it was beautiful.
Cross waves. Coming from both waves.
Very like.
Yeah.
No joo, mutta pärjäsitte.
Katsotaan. Helvetin huonosti.
Il Capitano.
Il Capitano.
Thank you for the safe ride.
Il muerto.
Il Muerto.
No water.
At last, an underwater image.
Underwater picture. Wow! Yeah! We got underwater picture! Underwater picture!
Roman. Thanks to Roman.
Oh, that's quite nice.
Now that our main Estonian contact Kurt has arrived, it's time to have a proper talk about our Russian captain Andrei.
Martin said that we'll do when you arrive, because he didn't want to start to explain it because he was worried about his translation.
He had agreed to spend at least a week with us, but just after 2 days of filming, he has told Kurt he's ready to leave.
Worried about the communication problems and
maybe when he's not needed that much anymore, he can leave. He will give us all the coordinates and stuff.
Andrei is already bored and frustrated and doesn't understand the whole filmmaking process. Maybe Kurt can explain things to him.
That's like I will explain it to him.
Yeah.
He's a bit different.
But he's a nice guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tuomas fills the bottles and we are ready to start diving. But surprise, surprise, Captain Andrei has had enough and tells Kurt he's not coming back.
Maybe we see in the video.
Yes, again.
It takes exactly 2 minutes to decide who the next captain will be.
This is the new captain.
His name shall be Martin or Captain Morgan, as we quickly rename our new leader.
So let's see how resourceful he is.
In the next episode,
Driving big boats as well, so I know. He can find the wreck. Maybe 15 meters more.
diving in Estonian waters continue. We have some great weather and fantastic footage. Is this how a diving camera should look like?
Buy a camera. 5 pounds.
We visit one of the oldest lighthouses of the Baltic Sea and the world's third oldest still working lighthouse, Kopu. Before leaving Hiiumaa, we have good time with our new friends. Kari gets a friend to help taking Pelagonia back to Finland.
From Maria, I think that it's the only treasure ship in the world.
We hear the story of a real treasure boat, Vro Maria, deep in the Baltic Sea. Our Swedish technical diving team, Tor, Per and Lotta, arrived to the Finnish islands. Our adventure continues at the Finnish shores of the Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea Adventure.